Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm Sid, and if you're new here, welcome, and if you always tune in, thank you for watching. So today I'm going to be talking about the snack book tag. I need to figure out who started this. I'm not quite sure, but I will leave them down below. The person that I saw do this was Enter the Book, and these are the prompts. Prompt number 1, sweet chocolate chip cookie. And it says, the chocolate chip cookie of books. Pick a book that is warm-hearted, uplifting, and makes you feel less cynical about the book, or about the world. If I had to pick any book specifically, I don't know if I necessarily could, but Terry Pratchett's Discworld. It's a great place to begin, quote unquote. I don't know, it's just, they're all really short. They're 200 pages. They are sweet and funny, and they're just their own individual little stories. Some characters kind of connect throughout the books, but I don't know, these just make me feel good. I have a great time reading them. I get through them really quickly. They just make me feel good. I don't know, they have been a lot of fun. If you don't know anything about Discworld, it is a 41 book series. But don't fear, they're all roughly about 200 pages. So easy to get through, simple, fast-paced. Again, some of the characters you follow throughout, and you can read them in any order that you want. And do you hear that car alarm out there? Okay, well that was a solid 5 minutes of their car beeping. But anyway, the second prompt is salty pretzel. Inherently craveable. Pick a book or series that you couldn't stop reading or reaching for. Brandon Sanderson. Do I need to say anything else? Actually, but I think I might switch it up. Would have to be Stormlight Archive or Mistborn. If you don't know anything about Stormlight Archive, it follows about 2 to 3 main characters. One's name is Kaladin, and one's name is Shallan. And Kaladin is a former soldier turned slave, and Shallan is a kind of highborn woman who is seeking scholarship with another woman, and she is hoping to kind of learn what she can about everything. She wants to become a scholar. So that's all I'll really say. The world is really impressive, it's really vast, it's really big. The planet Roshar is plagued by these high storms, and these high storms kind of affect everyday life. And then on top of that, they have what are called spren. So there can be any kind of spren. It could be fear spren, water spren, anger spren, glory spren, and they're these kind of physical manifestations of emotions that humans express. And they kind of show up in different little ways, and there's wind spren, there's all sorts of different spren. And that's kind of the really big aspects of the world. And the book, or the series, only has about 4 books out currently, but it is a vast universe that kind of connects like the Marvel Cinematic Universe does. So that sounds even remotely interesting. Please pick it up. But the other one that also works for this is Mistborn by him. Mistborn follows 2 main characters, our main character Vin and our secondary character Kelsier. In this world, you gain abilities by consuming different metals, and these different metals can get you to do different things. And most people only are able to use 1 metal, and a Mistborn is able to use all of them. And it's just kind of our journey through their world of seeing how Vin gets to learn how to use her powers while also running a heist on how to kill the big bad Dark Lord. So if that sounds interesting, both of these series I couldn't put down. Mistborn is where everyone is recommended to start in the Cosmere. I highly recommend starting there as well. I loved it. Couldn't put it down. First book is great, and then the third book is probably my favorite. So please check it out. Prompt number 3 is cheesy. Like Cheeto dust, you can't escape the cheese. Pick a book that you love because of or in spite of its cheesiness. Okay, my pick for this prompt is Heartstopper by Elise Oseman. Elise Oseman. And if you don't know, this is a graphic novel that follows 2 young boys who are learning about their sexuality, so it has great LGBTQ plus representation, and it's just kind of like their lives. Charlie is our main character and Nick is the blonde one. It's just kind of their, Charlie is openly gay and Nick is basically becomes his best friend. And there are 4 current novels out right now. I read all 4 and it talks about really good mental health, eating disorders, just kind of everything that high school kids might experience. It really walks through that, and I love this series, and I think that everyone should give it a chance. They actually made a new Netflix series about this, so if you don't want to read it or consume this content, you can go watch the show, and it's great. And it's cheesy, but I love it so much, and I'm not a romance person, but this right here, this got me. Prompt number 4 is deep fried. You bit too soon into the hot batter and got burned. Pick a book that hurt to read. I have so many of these that I could pick. I read only fantasy, so all of them. I think I'm actually going to pick the Broken Earth trilogy as a whole. I have the other 2 books right there. If you don't know anything about the Broken Earth trilogy, it follows these people basically called orogenes, and these orogenes have basically earth-bending abilities, so they are able to create earthquakes and kind of do earth-bending type stuff. But the problem is is that the world is also plagued by natural disasters, and these natural disasters are earth-ending and human apocalyptic ending type natural disasters. And in these books we follow our main character, and she is kind of navigating her life through one of these apocalyptic happenings, and it is called the 5th season. So if that sounds interesting to you, I highly recommend you pick this up. This book, I will warn you, I think it's actually written in 2nd person. Correct me if I'm not right on that. It does take a little bit to get into this, but I promise you, the twist at the end, I didn't see coming, and I am very hard to kind of surprise, and this got me. This got me so good. I didn't see the twist coming at all. And the next 2 books were probably not as good in quality, but the 3rd book especially was probably on par with the first. Incredible writing, really, really incredible world building, and the things that happen to these characters are just painful and hurt your heart. So please, if that sounds fun, pick it up. Prompt number 5 is ice cold. Sometimes that snack you want can only come from the deep freezer. Pick a book that transports you to a cold place. I'm gonna go with the Bloodsworn Saga by John Gwynne. Now this is probably it's kind of hard for this prompt because I feel like a lot of my books don't take place in cold places, but a lot of them travel to cold places and biomes, so kind of all of my books fit this prompt, but probably this one. This one's really atmospheric, really great world building. I feel like it has a great atmosphere that when you sit down and read it. I actually ended up reading the first book, this is the second, The Shadow of the Gods, in Alaska. My grandparents lived there, and I picked up the first one and read it while I was in Alaska last September, and I felt like a true Viking. I wanted to grab my sword and run around the woods and like fight bears. I don't know. Would I do that? No. But did I want to? Yes. But probably this, if you don't know, this follows 3 main characters, and we have a mercenary, we have a mom, we have basically another mercenary, just a different band. And it's their story of how they're navigating, and they're kind of like slowly moving together to interact with one another. And in this world you have people who are what are called tainted, and these are people that have basically the bloodline of the gods. And there are a couple different main gods, one being a dragon, a wolf, and a bear specifically are the 3 main, but there are other ones. Tainted are not treated well or fairly, and they're kind of hunted down. So I don't know, this world is just like super atmospheric, and I think that's why I'm choosing it for this prompt, because I read it in an atmospheric setting like that kind of matched the Norse inspired setting, so it works for me. I don't know. Pick it up. Prompt number 6 is soured. Some things are too sour to keep a straight face. Pick a book that made you make faces while you were reading. I know the perfect one for this. God Emperor of Dune. And dear Lord, I truly do wish that some of you might have been able to see my face while I was reading this book. Oh, and I can't really say what happens in this book because I don't want to spoil anything for the people that have not read Dune. If you have not read Dune, it was one of my favorite, it's actually my top, but if you don't know anything about Dune, Dune takes place on a desert planet actually named Arrakis, and you're following a family. It's kind of like a Game of Thrones. You're kind of following these separate, different families, and you're following Paul, our main character Paul Atreides. That's their last name. I should remember that. You're following Paul Atreides and his family as they move from their home planet Caladan to Arrakis. And it is kind of this like really political intrigue type of story where it's like they're moving from Caladan to Arrakis, but it's not really by choice, it's mainly by force. The Emperor of the Galaxy is kind of saying, move on over, dude. I can't say that. That's a spoiler. And as they move from Arrakis, or from Caladan to Arrakis, they are just kind of forced to overcome all this difference between their homeworld where it rains and they have oceans and all this stuff, and then obviously Arrakis is named Dune. And Dune has sandworms and these native people that they end up getting kind of tangled and interwoven with. So that's kind of the main plots of Dune. But if you've ever read the entire Dune chronicles, you'll know about this. I will just say this. There is a character in this that is not quite human and not quite animal. And they physically look stupid. So stupid. They look dumb, and every single time that this character was mentioned, I wanted to just scream, because I'm like, was there nothing else? Was there nothing else we could have come up with for this? Trust me on this when I tell you that my face reading this book was very unimpressed. And there was several times where I would laugh because to have a half character thing just was not doing it for me. And I have 2 more Dune books and I'm determined to get through them, but this really killed it for me. So please tell me if it gets better. The healthy snack. You picked this up because it was good for you. Pick a book that you read. Pick a book that you read to improve yourself in some way. I don't read a lot of other things besides fantasy, which makes it hard to do these videos, but A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. I recommend all of you pick this up. It is a novella. It's like 120 pages. And this book and the second in this series just have helped my soul in so many ways. It's just about this little tea monk that goes on an adventure and he finds a robot. And these robots have been kind of like out in the wild, not interacting with humans for centuries. And basically this robot was sent by his robots to come back to humanity and ask what they needed. And of course that depends on who you ask. They kind of pair up as a team and try to ask that question as many times as possible. What do humans need? And it's just kind of this very soft and gentle story of finding your way in the world, finding your purpose, not knowing your purpose all the time, and knowing that that's okay, and just doing what you love at the end of the day is most important. And the robot in this is wonderful. Oh god, he's just so sweet, and for as small as this book is, it was incredibly powerful, and it's really stuck with me. And I spent the money to have this, and I'm not somebody who would ever like own just a regular little paperback novella. I typically would never spend my money on this, but I love this book, and please read this if you like a little bit. It's actually, I would totally classify this as cozy fantasy, just like Legends and Lattes. This is like cozy fantasy. It feels like our world, and I can't recommend it enough. Okay, and the 8th prompt is juicy. Like an orange or a watermelon, some snacks have plenty of pieces to share. Pick a book that is profoundly shareable. A book you want others to read. Well, all of these I want you to read. Okay, for this prompt, I'm actually choosing Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. And if you don't know, she's the woman who also wrote Station 11. If you've read that, hopefully you know what I'm talking about. I actually have not read Station 11. This was my first book by her, and it was my last book of 2022. I listened to it on audio. It's great. You can get it from the Libby app from your library. I highly recommend. I am going to buy this book physically so that I can have it on my bookshelf to give to people forever. This book was wonderful, and it has an element of mystery to it. You're following, it's like a generational story. So you're following a couple different characters. You're following people in like the 1918s, then like 2020, 2024, 2303. Like you're kind of following like everyone, and it spans over a vast amount of time. And you're just kind of you're trying to figure out how these people connect to one another. And they all do, I promise you. It's just how they all connect to one another, and it's this beautiful story of I actually found that it was one of the only stories that I've ever heard contain COVID. It contained like a little bit about pandemics and just kind of like the history of pandemics, while also weaving it into the story where it made sense. And I like that it included COVID because it's something real that happened to all of us. So I love this book. It really hit me in a very profound way, and this is a book that I can't stop thinking about. So please go buy this book or listen to it. Okay, editing Sydney here. Totally forgot to film an outro to the snack book tag, so here I am filming it before I completely export it. So yeah, that was the tag. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to tag Chatty the Mad Chatter, and then I'm also going to tag Bandana Book Mom and Tara's Bookshelf. So I will leave you guys in the description below. Please check out their channels. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I have a lot more tags to do. I somehow got tagged in like 4 different tags last week, so be prepared to see these and be prepared to be tagged. So This is open to anyone, by the way. You don't just have to be tagged. Please let me know if you do this tag. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!